guys!
Hey guys!
Welcome back to our channel.
Welcome.
We're back with another video.
Yes.
And I'm proper excited about this one because we're finally talking about Deku Wedding 2016.
Can you believe it's almost been 1 year since we actually got married?
I know.
Yeah, and I don't know why we haven't done a video yet, but we just thought, you know, it's almost been 1 year. Let's start talking about our wedding.
Let's do this. So we thought, let's take it way back. Right to the beginning when Gabes put a ring on it and we were just like, right, let's start planning this wedding. And we just want to talk to you about like the vision behind Deku Wedding. If you haven't watched the wedding video, check it out. Our videographer did an amazing job.
Yeah.
You can only watch it on the desktop site because of the songs and all that jazz. But check it out, we'll link it below. And yeah, we just had such an amazing day and there was a lot of planning that went into that day, right?
Yeah, 100%. We were engaged for about a year and like 2 months or so, and we were literally at work for that whole year and 2 months.
Yeah, but we knew the vision that we wanted, so we're gonna take you through that just in case you guys are planning a wedding and you're thinking, where do we start?
Yeah. So when we were planning our wedding, we were constantly just talking about our guests.
Yeah, for real.
It wasn't about how my suit was gonna look. Annabella wasn't even being a diva and just thinking about what kind of dress and what kind of shoes she wants.
Yeah.
We were literally thinking about our guests, and we were thinking about the type of experience we wanted them to have and how we wanted them to feel. And by thinking about them, we tried to remove all kind of barriers that could prevent them from having a good time.
Yeah.
So we made sure our wedding was in a central location. So regardless of where they came from in London, they could get to easily. We made sure that our church was actually close to the reception, so when they finished the church, they could make the transition over. And when they got to the reception, that they can have food waiting for them. Like, it was just like everything that we did was just for our guests and just making sure that they had a good time.
And it's really weird because for us two, it was just very important that it's not about us. I know it's our wedding, but we just kept talking about the guests and the experience that we wanted them to have. And it's purely because this is the one time, there are not many times in life where you can actually cultivate the type of environment that you want. Sometimes at work, you walk into a certain environment with, you know, certain places that you go to, there's already an environment set, but this is our wedding. People are coming for us, so we were like, what type of environment are we going to create for them? How do we want them to leave feeling? What do we want them to leave thinking? Like, this is time to inspire. Like, we were just so excited about that, like our first event.
Literally having people from all walks of life, from your work, from your back in school, from your church, everyone in one environment is like, how do we want them to leave? We wanted them to leave just feeling like hope to love again. Because if you really understand the journey Annabella and I went on, like in terms of our past relationships and how, you know, we came into this relation, the fact that she rejected me on Valentine's Day, you know, I'll link the video below where we explain that. But yeah, literally, we went on a journey. We didn't just get to a place and like, oh, you know, like literally there was a process to it. And I think we helped our guests understand that as well. Like in the lead up to our wedding, we sent out like an email or something just talking through our journey. And our guests understood and appreciated the journey that we went on. So when we were actually there on the wedding day, our guests were like, wow, like if Gabes and Anna, you know, can find love even though they didn't have love before and were in a messy relationship, how much more can they find love? So it's kind of like restoring hope and having been in a position where people have faith to dare to love again. Yeah,
for real. So it's as though we sort of mapped out this whole vision of what we wanted our wedding guests to experience our wedding day, and we literally worked that out in certain things that we chose. So choosing for the venue, reception venue and church to be within walking distance from each other, like 2 minutes walk from each other. The fact that we had children entertainment downstairs and all these little things that are expensive, and we could have been like, actually no, we shouldn't do that, because we'd already set out the vision and we said this is our one time to actually cultivate a certain environment. We just went for it.
And we paid a little bit more extra, like Anna said, just to remove those roadblocks so that people can actually come, they feel relaxed, and that they can just literally sit down and enjoy the day and actually take in the whole ceremony, like two people actually becoming one, and how beautiful it is of what a marriage actually represents.
And if you think about it, like, weddings, everyone obviously wants to be there, but then when people are there, sometimes it's like, oh, things are taking long, what's going on, what's happening here, blah blah blah. So we mapped out like literally minute to minute, like, what we're gonna do in this gap, what's happening musically playing here, blah blah blah. And it's purely because we had the end in mind, and we were just so set on like helping our guests. Just, you know, people come in with baggage at the end of the day. People have things going on in their lives, but we wanted them to step into our wedding and just feel something completely different. And even if it's just for those 12 hours, that they feel something different and they're light and they're happy. Let that be. So we're willing to make the sacrifices so that could happen.
Because people are really going through difficult times. Even at your wedding, they could have recently just gone through a serious breakup, and then they're kind of heartbroken, or they may have never found love. And I think our day was literally a day just to kind of restore that kind of hope. Because
sometimes that's why we were like, it's not about us. Because sometimes you can think, oh, it's our wedding, how can someone say they're not coming? Or how can someone, you know, only be coming to the evening? But do you know what it means to be like coming to a wedding, blah. But then we're just like, actually it's not about us.
There's
like
people,
such a bigger picture where people are going through stuff, people have got their own lives, like you're not the main priority. And sometimes with weddings you think that everyone's thinking about your wedding at every single moment of the day, when they're actually not. So for us it was just a reminder that it's not about us, it's not about us. We're gonna enjoy it after, we're gonna make love. Just to repeat that point. And you know, we knew that we're gonna spend the rest of our lives together. You know,
regardless of how the day went. So the day was literally for
the guests.
And we also realized that people may have had a certain perception of Christianity or Jesus or the church in general, and we thought, wow, it's actually our opportunity to kind of put on church to actually break those barriers in terms of or perceptions of what they think Christianity is, and actually realize that Christianity is not weird. Jesus is not someone just standing there on a pulpit waiting for you to sin so that he can just shoot you with a thunderbolt or something like that.
And some of my colleagues and people, I've been waiting for them to come to church for so long, literally. You know when you ask the question sometimes and they're just like, oh, I can't make it this week, or sometimes you're even scared to ask the question, but for a wedding, like everyone's like, bring me in. Like, do you know what I mean? I'll come. So we're like, wow, how can we break their stereotypes of what they think church is? How can we show them what we truly believe church is? Like, it was so powerful.
And we were so intentional with it as well. So like when our guests were coming through and being seated, we just made sure that they had the best welcome ever. Our groomsmen were at the door just welcoming them. And as they were getting shown to their seat, we had worship music just in the background.
Instrumental, you don't know God's ministry to yourself.
And then we had an amazing worship team.
The three singers.
They were really good. And the priest, the way he brought the word and explained things, it was like
perfect. Wow. Some of the things you can't plan, obviously, we couldn't like write his scripts, but we're just like, when we're having our meetings with him, we're like, you know, we really want this to be a place where people who are unbelievers, whatever, can really understand what it means to be a follower of Jesus.
And what a marriage actually represents.
What a marriage represents. And like, you know, society thinks that marriage is not significant anymore. Like, how can you make people believe in it? And he killed it. Like, you know, obviously our wedding, it was amazing, and we can't say that we planned out every second. Like, God did his thing at the end of the day, 100%. But we really put in a lot of work as well in terms of like creating what we wanted to create and being intentional and not compromising on things that we wanted.
Just so that our guests could have a good time. And like, just off the back of that, we heard so many like testimonies from our wedding, or people actually finding relationship, not necessarily at our wedding, but actually going out and just, you know, because they were in a position before where they didn't believe in love, so they just kind of sat back. But now actually believing that love exists, we found that people actually went out and were in relationships. And there were also people who were having unhealthy relationships, and they actually ended their relationship as well.
They were like, I'm settling.
I'm settling. So bye, Felicia.
For real. And that's just mind blowing. Like, you can't plan for those things. And the fact that we heard those kind of stories from friends and family, and people who are married said that they just want to love their husband a bit more. Which is just wow. It was just mind blowing. And I think it's all because we had the end in mind in terms of what experience do we want our guests to have. And like, we just want to encourage you, if you're planning a wedding or you're thinking about planning your wedding, then start with the end in mind. What is it about
your wedding.
Your wedding. What is the focus of your wedding? If it is the two of you, that's perfectly fine. If you want to go abroad and get married, that's perfectly fine. But don't get distracted, because I know like there's in-laws who can get involved and say, you need to do it this way, you need to do it that way. But if you've got the end in mind from the beginning and you're saying that it's just about me and my husband, me and my future husband, confessing our love to each other, and that's what we want it to be about. Don't get distracted with all the traditionals and everything like that. And the same with us, we were focusing on the guests, and there were people who were saying, you know, what about you two? It is your wedding. But for us, we're just like, no, we're not getting distracted by that. Yeah. We wanted it to be about them. So
we just wanted to have a wedding that kind of outlasts us.
Yeah.
And when we went viral, that was not planned.
Yeah, that was not part of the plan, but that will outlive us, so we're fine with that. And
exactly.
Sometimes you pray for bold things and then they happen and you're like, okay God, we didn't mean that much. But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For real.
So we just thought we'd let you know like what the thought process was for our wedding. And I'm learning a lot from Gabes in terms of being intentional about things. Like, I'm not a dead fish anymore. Only dead fish go with the flow, and I go with the flow through life. And I think Gabes has really taught me about being intentional, and I think our wedding was just a testimony to that. He was just so like, Mr. Planner,
what does this mean?
Yeah, what does this mean? What? Like every second, like there was a plan, and I didn't see the significance of it, but I'm thankful for the outcome of it, and I think that's purely to do with being intentional. So yeah.
So if you're getting married soon, be intentional.
Definitely, and start with the end in mind.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about other stuff with regards to weddings as well, but we thought we'd start with where we started, which was thinking about the end and thinking about the experience that we wanted our guests to have. Whatever it is for you, whatever your end in mind is, stick to it, don't compromise on it. It's your day, make it exactly what you want within your budget, and do it. Thanks for watching, guys. That's all.